What better place to be in the early morning than sunrise in Galilee? Special place, and perhaps especially special if you think of Peter and the disciples who were on this very seashore one morning just after the resurrection. It had been a difficult time for them, especially for Peter, because you'll remember it's Peter who denied Jesus those 3 times in Caiaphas' courtyard. It's Peter and the other disciples who slept when Jesus in Gethsemane was pleading with them to pray with him for just 1 hour. And now here it is in the early morning, the sun coming up over the horizon, and Peter is again really, really down. Why? Well, we've had the crucifixion, we've had the burial, we've had the resurrection. And yes, Peter has seen the risen Jesus, but then Jesus has told the disciples, go up to Galilee and I'll meet you there. And that's exactly what they do. Not all the disciples, but a group of them. They find themselves on the seashore at Galilee, waiting for Jesus to meet with them. And actually, there's nothing worse than waiting to meet with somebody, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait some more, and they don't come. You really start to feel stressed up. And Peter was already feeling stressed. In fact, you could say he had post-traumatic stress after all the events of that crucifixion weekend, and all, his thoughts of, this is Jesus, this is the Messiah I'm expecting, and it's all gone wrong, and maybe that resurrection was just a hallucination, was just something in the mind. And so they're on the seashore in that afternoon, waiting for Jesus to come, and Jesus doesn't come. And Peter looks down the shore and he sees the fishing boats, sees what used to be his career just 3 years previously. He sees the nets, he sees the equipment, and he thinks, maybe I should just go back and do what I'm familiar with. And he says to his friends, let's go fishing. And that's what they do. Out into the water, casting the nets. They know how to do it. They grew up, they did it since they were tiny children. They were out on the lake there, fishing. And out they go, and they fish all night long. Now, I'm not a fisherman, but my guess is if I was a fisherman, if I was there, experienced with the boat, with the nets, and I fished all night long and didn't catch anything, I would be extremely discouraged. And he's already discouraged, he's already down, and this has just hit him one more blow. I've lost my Saviour, my Messiah, now I can't even fish. What on earth is the point of it all? And it's sometimes when you come to that very, very low point, that's the very moment when Jesus is there for you. And he was there. He was there on the seashore, and he calls out to the disciples. In fact, what he says in colloquial Greek, if you translate it that way, it's not a hello friends as you read in the Bible translations. It's really something like, oi mate, got any fish? It's just like a stranger on the beach. It's like he's trying to disguise himself so that the disciples don't immediately recognize him. Oi mate, got any fish? And they reply, no, we've caught nothing. And then he gives them one instruction. Cast your nets on the right-hand side of the boat. And I don't know why they did it. Why is it experienced fishermen that have been fishing all night, and night is the time to do it because the fish can't see the shadow of the boat or the nets? Why is it that they follow the instructions of a stranger on the seashore and throw their nets on the other side when the sun is already coming up? when it's already daylight, when it's going to be far more difficult to catch fish. I don't know why they did it, but something made them do it, and I'm so glad that they did. Because when they throw their nets on the other side of the boat, the Bible records in John 21 that the nets are so full they can't even drag them back up.
For me, being at this beach here today, I tend to remember Peter and the disciples after being disappointed of the Lord because the Lord was crucified and their hope was dashed. And they came here, but the Lord follows them in their disappointment and it brings hope to them. Many times in my ministry, I've also been disappointed, but the Lord never gave up on me.
And then they recognize who it is. It's Jesus. It's the Saviour. He has come to meet with them in Galilee. And you know Peter. Peter is the impulsive one. He's always got to act. And he doesn't wait to help the other disciples with the fish. He just leaps over the side of the boat, makes his way into the shore, and the other disciples have to bring the boat and the fish with them. 153 fish. I really don't understand that number, nor why John the disciple felt the need to record that number. Some people suggest that maybe that's the number of nations there were in the ancient world at that time. I don't know. But what I do know is that Jesus performed a miracle for them, and when they got to the shore, they didn't even need the miracle, because Jesus already had breakfast for them. The fire was burning, the fish were there was bread there, and he just said, come and have breakfast. Which is a great thing, because Jesus often did a lot of his teaching around a meal. It's a hospitable thing to do. It's a thing that draws people together. It's often the place for good conversations, and so they actually have that good conversation while they're eating breakfast.
This location where Jesus and Peter were reconciled, to me, has special meaning in the words where Jesus said, "Come, have breakfast together." What a wonderful invitation Jesus extends for every one of us, because he wants to be a friend. You don't invite strangers to breakfast. You invite friends to breakfast. Breakfast is the time when maybe the house isn't ideal or everything isn't in order. So you only invite the people that you have confidence in. And Jesus says to you and me, "Come, let's have breakfast together."